be able to have all the material we've covered, at your fingertips, and continue to learn after the classes are over with, and continue to chart your own chart. You're going to have your own chart in there, and you're going to start charting the transit planets and see how they're affecting you, till the end of the year. So.
It's rolling.
Okay, ready to roll. Okay. Welcome everyone. I'm Sister MyRa, and I'm glad to see you back again for our 6th lesson. And like we were talking about, remember we're not meeting next Sunday, and that's in respect to the Gathering of the Masters, which I hope you guys will all, check out because it's going to be phenomenal. But we will finish up on April 2nd. And I'm also extending an open invitation to our ancestral spirits as we are dependent on their participation and guidance. Ashe.
Ashe.
Okay. Now, what I do is, I'll go home and I'll view the last tape so that I can, get some topics that I figure, that I feel like I didn't cover fully enough, or answer some questions that I may have not understood at the time. And then I'll just kind of, give me some topics to discuss here. One thing that I wanted to say, which I don't think I have said, is that your rising sign, the rising sign represents your higher self. Okay? I don't know if I've told you all that, but the rising sign does represent your higher self. See, the sun sign is mainly your personality. So that makes the rising sign even of more importance, than we know, because the personality is what we're supposed to be trying to, supersede here. So I just wanted to make that point.
Sun sign
Is your personality. That's what we're trying to, bust out of, our personality, making everything so personal. If we want to go spiritual, we want to go collective. Like I said at the beginning of last week's lesson, when I talked about the movie I showed, The Dark Crystal, where, and what I wanted to, the point I wanted to make was the characters in there, Kara and Jin, just like Jesus. This is a story of a nation. It's a story of a people. So we can't look at these things on a singular, but this is the same way they did with Jesus. They made it a singular story when it's actually a story about a people, about a nation. So, like I said, continue to make that jump from the physical. When you're talking about the physical, you're talking about a singular. You're talking about a man, an individual, a woman. But when you're talking spiritual, then you're talking a collective. You're talking about a people or a nation, okay? That's why, like even when you see in the Bible, you'll see the same word. One time it may be capitalized, the first letter, and then the next time you may see it with small letters. You're supposed to understand that when it's with the small letter, we're talking physical, individual. But when you see it with the large, the uppercase, then we're talking collective or spiritual, okay? And then if you can remember that, you'll know how to make that jump. Anything you look at on a physical level, you'll be able to jump it up and understand that on a collective level. Then we're looking at it on a spiritual level. See? And the only reason they do this is to trivialize the phenomenon that's going on. They don't want to say, they rather put this, like Jesus, they rather put this on a man. Because that's something they can control. And they can, manipulate the masses with the idea this man did this or this man did that, follow him, he's your Messiah. Rather than putting it on people,
Exactly.
Us as black people, this is what the black people's trials and tribulations are about, and this is why they're going through this. You want to find out who the savior of the world is. It's not a man. It's a people. See? So, also I wanted to talk about, another thing I want to talk about was the Pope's apology. Anybody take note of that?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, the apology If you'll notice, he says, I'm apologizing to the Jews of, what did he say, 2,000 years ago? So who do you think he was apologizing to, and he's trying to cloak it? Right. And what I found extremely interesting was when he apologized to the indigenous people, like the Indians. What did he apologize for? He apologized for making them convert to Catholicism. That was their demise. You know, that was their demise because they were very spiritual people. And there's a movie, I saw this movie on cable, and I wish I could find it again. It's called The Black Road, you know, and it gets deep into this. It tells that story, you know, and the Spirit kept trying to tell the Indians, you know, continue to follow the Spirit, you know, they were trying to convert them into Catholicism. And the Indians resisted and resisted and resisted. And in the end, you know, when the leaders that resisted it fell out, the people turned over to Christianity. And they even wrote on the screen after that, I think it was 15 years later, they were, you know, they were gone. They didn't exist anymore. So this is why the Pope is apologizing. Because, you know, he took them away from, you know, where they're, you know, right, their spirituality. You know, so, the reason I wanted to make a point about that is because, okay, is that taping? Because I don't see the picture up there, Emila.
There's something was in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And it's two frames, two small frames at the top.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Up there at the top left.
You ready?
Yeah. Oh, you mean we haven't started yet?
You ready for the tape?
Oh, you didn't push play? Record?
Oh.
Are you ready for the tape?
No. I was just wondering if the picture was up there because. Oh, okay.
So it is recording.
You're right. It is recording. Okay, so you got to understand, why is he doing this apology now? Why do you think he's doing that apology now? Because he knows what time it is. And if you understood during that, I think it was it was one of the eclipses. I think it may have been the blood moon eclipse, the one we just had, where what he did, or it may have been the fixed cross one, the eclipse there, the full solar eclipse. But what he did, he went up in the airplane to view it. He went up in the airplane to view this, okay? So when he did that, I was going, you know, what does he know? You know, he knows well enough to look at this phenomenon, to understand the significance, that it has meaning as far as, you know, what is going on for the world. And then he comes out with this apology to, you know, the women, minorities, and the indigenous people. So you got to understand why he did that. He's trying to save himself. They're trying to save themselves now. You know, they're trying to save themselves. They're trying to apologize. Everybody's apologizing. All the white folks are apologizing. You know, they're all apologizing because they know what time it is. Okay? Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was, I call it the pop of righteous indignation. Okay? This is what I call it, because this is what, you know, when you had this John Rocker thing, okay, that's one of those emotional things that they want you to throw your emotions at to divert you. But the only reason I'm even bringing it up now is because I also recognize it as a test, you know, to show just how much control they do have. I mean, they can stand right in our faces, you know, and how like, nigga, I hate you, you know, you're this and you're that. And you can still go find, I don't know how many Negroes that's going to validate that position, you know. They went and got Hank Aaron, they went and got Andrew Young. Mm-hmm. Andrew Young was standing up there. They had him on the news giving a sermon saying, oh, I've seen I don't know how many black folks that talk about white folks like a dog. You know? So if we expect for them to forgive us when we do things and we feel like we have a right to do that, then they may feel like they have a right to their anger toward us. So we have to forgive. And, you know, so what he's trying to do is equate you know, their racism to our righteous indignation. You know, we have a right to be indignant. We have a right to be upset, you know, behind what is coming down, what their treatment of us, you know. They have no right to feel the way they do toward us, you know, to hate us and denigrate us, you know, simply because they recognize the power in us, see. And so for him to stand up there and to tell people, you know, it's the same thing. Us hating them is the same thing as them hating us, you know, that's bull crap. That's bull crap. And I call it the pot of righteous indignation, because everything that they do, and every time we feel that righteous indignation, it's like it goes into this huge pot, you know. They're not getting over it, you know. All that is just heaping, you know, that karmic energy upon their heads. It's only digging them in deeper and deeper. If they wanted, like the Pope apologizing now, if they wanted to repent, they want to apologize, you know, they could never make up for what's all in that pot of righteous indignation. And we have to start filling that pot. You know what I'm saying? Every time you feel indignant about something that's not right, you know, that adds to the pot. But that's why they're trying to get us to be very even kill about those things, that somebody can stand up in your face and talk about you and, you know, put you down, and you're going to stand up and say, oh, it's okay.
Turn the other cheek.
Yeah, turn the other cheek. It's okay, because they don't want you filling that pot. They don't want you getting indignant, because that's energy.
That's why they always.
Yeah. They want you to feel it's all right. Whatever we do, no matter how we kick you in the butt, it's okay. Don't get indignant about it, because that's energy. And that's what I call it, the pot of righteous indignation. Every chance you get, put something in that pot. You know, picture it bubbling. You know, because, you know, that's how we operate. We operate through energies. You know, they're the physical. They are the physical masters. We're the spiritual masters. Okay? Opposites. So use that energy. Use that spirit. You know, and it will, you know, contribute, you know, to what happens, you know, at their judgment, shall I say. I got a couple more books that I want you to, because like you said, we're ending up here. This is next to the last, and I want you to continue to grow in the knowledge of this. And you definitely have to have, and I know they have that here, because, you know, we really need to, you know, I know they have this book. It's The Serious Mystery. All of it, you know, this is a must-have. This has everything in it. You know, you're talking about going above this. You're talking about going into the stars. You're talking about identifying the deities of the underworld. You're talking about, you know, everything is in here. Everything is in here. You know, it's a lot of reading. You know, but it's all here. Whatever you want to find, this is probably one of the best books, you know. And another one I have more on the technical level, and you see how to use mine to death. It's called Planets in Transit. This is by Robert Hand. And if they don't have, this wasn't on my original list here, and I know they've gotten in some of the books on my list. So if it's not here, you know, just go to them and ask them. They can get it for you. You know, we want to get purchase from here now.
You said Robert Hand?
Robert Hand, yeah, Hand. And if it wasn't on my original list, but just go to them and tell them that you want this, and they'll get it for you. And this is, see, and you can get dependent on this one now, because this one here, what we're going to do today is go over the all of the angles. And this one here will tell you, you know, you'll go to the sun, it'll show you the sun, it says sun squares Uranus. And it'll tell you what that indicates. You know, it'll, sun conjuncts Uranus. It does every planet. So, you know, as you're learning, you know, this can be a tool to help you understand how those things are interacting. You know, and what it means when these planets interact in certain combinations. Okay, So the only problem is getting dependent on it because, you know, I want you to think for yourself. I want you to put those concepts together for yourself, okay? So that you start understanding. Don't get too dependent on, you know, someone else's definition. Let's see. We are, okay, the other thing I put down here is we're all connection points in the greater scheme of things. So everybody's important. You know, it's like, you know, in order to become whole, we have to hook up. You know, so everybody, you know, realize that your role is extremely important because it's a connection point. It's
Yeah.
a connection point.
Although here in Western society, we're taught individualism.
Yeah, individualism.
You know,
Right,
to be-
right. See, and we're still talking about individualism, but we're talking about the other half
Right.
bringing it into the whole. You know, bringing it all together. Each individual come together to make the whole. See, that's what they leave out. They only give you half the story. See, but we got to have the whole story because we're the whole beings.
That's right.
You know, brown-eyed white man. Now this is Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. This is what she says. She's talking about melanin, and she's talking about how important melanin is. She said that melanin is so important that a brown-eyed white man is more agile than a blue-eyed white man. Okay? And you imagine if you got all skin, your whole, you know, brown eyes, how powerful that could be. If we're talking about just the difference in brown eyes and blue eyes, and how much difference that makes in a white person, you know, that gives you, that melanin is what gives you the agility. Like I said, it's our, you know, connection with the universe. You know, and we were talking about last week about how they can do low-level magic. You know, that's because they can work within this atmosphere, but when it goes into the universe, they can't get there. That's where the real power lies, and that's because of the melanin. That's because the fluidity with the universe we have because of our melanin, and that's just a small example of, you know, if a brown-eyed white man can do so much more than a blue-eyed white man because he has that much more melanin, then that should give you an indication of this. Yeah, when we got all skin and everything, you know. So, you know, just I'm always trying to make the point, you know, because they've always tried to make the point on the physical level. I want to make the point on the spiritual level. They're the physical kings, we're the spiritual kings. They're the material kings. They haven't been too willing to share their gifts with us, you know, their materialism. But now we're going into the spiritual. Now they want ours. You know, well, hey, take us with you. No, you know. No, we're at our forte now, see? And there's nothing you can do about that. Okay, and speaking of okay, I'm ready for the tape now. The low-level magic. I just want to give you some, and let me get the remote because I want to, there's 2 spots on it I want to show. Thank you.
Not demonic evil witches cast out from Satan's den, but rather good witches, witches that love the land and nature that surrounds them. They are the witches of Wicca, and their beliefs are as old as ancient times.
In the name of our Lord and Lady, I welcome you into this temple of the Circle of Isis Rising.
We in no way, shape, or form are connected with black magic practices, with satanic practices, or any of those negative sort of things. We primarily are an earth, nature-oriented religion.
Wicca practitioners come from all walks of life. The High Priestess is the Queen of Heaven, and in some respects resembles the Egyptian goddess Isis. She is light, love, and above all, fertility.
My responsibility is basically to serve people, to touch as many lives as I can in a positive way. That's my responsibility that I feel. So mote it be.
So might it be.
The high priest is the horn god, the dark male factor. And between them, they control the turning of the seasons. They bring fertility to both crops and animals, and bestow magical powers upon their faithful followers.
I have practiced spells for our district and our company for prosperity to come into our area and make money, and it has worked.
Magic and spells are still very much a part of their beliefs and practices, but only good spells, since a bad spell can come back to its creator threefold.
Whatever actions an individual puts out, it will come back to you threefold or 3 times. Therefore, it doesn't do any good to put out anything other than positive vibrations in this world, because that's exactly what you're going to get back.
Regardless as to whether you believe in witches or not, there's no doubting their sincerity, how they feel about their fellow members.
Wicca accepts me the way I am. It doesn't try to change me. And it hasn't told me that I have to go out and convince anyone else that they have to come to Wicca either.
And as for their favorite holiday, you might have guessed.
We all get together. We celebrate like the New Year for us, which is Halloween, Samhain. And I just enjoy. And I beseech you to come down and witness.
Luckily for these witches, there is no longer a fear of being burned at the stake. No longer do they need to run and hide if local townspeople discover their beliefs. Today they can blend in perfectly with society, and no one knows the difference, except on those cold, breezy nights when the moon is full and all good witches gather to practice their centuries-old ritual magic.
A point to describe the black witches. We're not the black witches. We're not, we're the good ones, okay? But they're using everything, that we would use. They're using all of our symbolisms and the moon. There's one other one I wanted to show you here. How they're imitating everything that we do.
They imitate everything.
Mm-hmm. It's coming up. There it is.
I'm excited about it. The more you
Preserving the body of the dead so that its spirit lives on. It is believed that the Egyptians mummified over 730 million people, and although the practice died out long ago, it has recently been resurrected, healthy and alive, at Lynn University in the state of Florida.
Embalming is a temporary process, whereas the ancient art of mummification...
Today, these students are being trained to bring a very dead art form back to life once again.
something that I've been very interested in for a long time. I'm extremely excited about it. The more you become involved, the more fascinated you become.
We're going to remove the stomach, the liver, and the...
John Shue is a licensed funeral director and head of the Funeral Services Department at Lynn University. It's his dream to be the first mortician to mummify a human being since the practice ceased over 1,500 years ago. And for anywhere between $20,000 and $150,000, you too can become a mummy, although a down payment is required.
Suman was interested in the mummification process. They developed this concept, and I became interested in working with them on this because I had been researching it for many years. And between us, we were able to come up with these concepts of modern mummification. After 1,500 years, here we were on the verge of something, bringing something back something that expressed the dignity of man.
The doctor makes it perfectly clear that mummification doesn't have to eliminate the traditional funeral rites we have become accustomed to. One simply dies, has the traditional open casket viewing, and then is wheeled away behind closed doors, where eternal life awaits.
After the funeralization took place, the body was taken to the place of mummification, whereas the body had a 10-inch incision made within and underneath the rib cage.
We'll eviscerate the organs, both the thoracic and the abdominal aorta. Yeah.
From that point, the organs were removed from the body,
Reaching in, going all the way through,
placed in a container,
and slip the organs into a bucket.
cleaned, sanitized, and prepared to be placed in the vat with the body.
The vat that the body organs are being placed in contains secret solutions of salts and chemicals. The mortician's bodysuits and masks are worn for protection against the chemicals of the body's natural toxins. The vat is then sealed shut, though every day it is reopened to pour in more solutions. Finally, after 7 to 12 days, the body is removed and placed once again on the operating table, where the all-too-familiar gauze is wrapped meticulously around the body. Seal in the mummiform. And once you've gone through all this, just what kind of mummiform is available to you?
There are many options for the mummiform. You can create any type of mummiform. We use the Egyptian motif because that's probably the most spectacular. But we can place a person in priest garments. It may be of an Oscar motif, or, it could be almost anything.
For the right price, any mummiform you choose is okay with them. But where will they locate you once you are a mummy?
These mummiforms can be placed in family mausoleums. There is right now is the construction in the mountains of Salt Lake City. There is going to be individual spots to place these mummiforms. But these can be relocated all over the world. These can be located in any area, any cemetery. It's just a matter of having them constructed to meet the needs. The average may be a 10 by 10 type of mausoleum in which this mummiform would be placed. And I think this is important to people. This is what people are looking for. Something to say, yes, I have lived a life.
What about your pets? Heaven forbid you go to that special place and get your favorite animal. Well, don't worry. They've thought of everything. Sumam in Utah has your critter companions in mind for the hereafter. Now, when you are finally sealed and resting in your tomb, you don't have to be alone. Fido could be a mummy, too.
Rooster lived here at the pyramid for a number of years in the house with me, and she belongs to a lady by the name of Kay Henry. Rooster passed away about 6 months ago. When she passed away, her owner had decided that she wanted Rooster mummified, and she would like Rooster in her mausoleum space also, because Kay Henry's going to be mummified. They'll a large mausoleum space have some things in there, and Rooster's one of the most important things in her life because she was so loyal to her.
And of course, the founder of Sumam had his 2 house pets mummified when they passed away 2 years ago. Oscar the cat and Butch the Doberman pinscher. Recently, he had them both x-rayed to determine their condition.
A number of years have passed by, and the vets that x-rayed the cat were amazed at the detail that you could see through the x-rays into Oscar. All of the muscle tissue is just perfectly preserved. The lenses on his eyes are still perfectly preserved. Oscar is perfectly mummified. His body's perfectly preserved indefinitely, forever, as long as the planet happens to be around.
Sumam is a company that offers alternatives to mundane forms of burial. Once sealed within the mummiform and placed in the cliff-faced mausoleums, you, like the pharaohs, will be preserved forever.
You know, we talking about a future world here, you know, and we go back to the pyramids to find out about our ancestors. So they're really kind of they're trying to convolute that whole message, you know. Desperate, you guys. They're getting desperate at this point.
But then I didn't hear mention anything about any type of ritual preceding mummification.
No, of course not. Oh, their regular funeral service. Okay. So that's them mixing it. Their regular funeral service, and then afterwards the body is whisked away to, to form its mummification process. So this is just an example of how they're taking everything of ours, and trying to claim it for themselves. Even the magic part, So, and just another point to make. Now, we're going to start the lesson section, and as by your agenda, you have week 6, bringing it all together, balancing, because that's what's happening when you're getting the interaction of the planets. You're getting that balancing act. Every one of these interactions represents a form of balance. Okay, and like I have been telling you throughout, the maximum form of balance is by balancing opposites, okay? But there are in-betweens, There are smaller ways that these things interact, these energies interact. And that's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to go through all of these. The first one we're going to talk about is the conjunction. And we've already talked about that. And the conjunction is when any planet is within 10 degrees of another planet, okay? And when we talk about an exact conjunction, that means they're at the same exact degree, okay? If, when two planets are at the same exact degree, in the same sign, they'll be in the same house, they'll be locked together, that's a conjunction. And conjunctions represents the beginning of a new cycle. Okay, it represents the beginning of a new cycle. When you got two planets conjuncting, then it means that a new cycle is beginning, determined by whatever two planets are conjuncting. Okay, that's what a conjunction does. It begins a cycle. The next one is the sextile. Okay, and the sextile represents planets at a 60-degree angle. When they're at a 60-degree angle, they're in sextile with each other. And that denotes excitement. When you see two planets in sextile, there's excitement going on between the two planets.
How many degrees is that?
It's 60 degrees. 60-degree angle. And you'll still look at that 10-degree range, okay? Which means like if it's 62, it's still in that sextile. You understand? So that's what it denotes. And you will see that, and that'll come into play with the energies, because when you have a sextile, usually it's going to be the Earth, let's say Taurus. Taurus would be in sextile, and that would be with a water sign. It would be in a 60, usually that 60, not always now, but we're not going to get that complicated, okay? When we're talking about being on the fringes, you can get some of these interactions in different elements, but I'm giving you the basics now. So, say Taurus would be in sextile with Cancer. That's a water sign, that's the earth sign. See? And then Taurus is also going to be in sextile with Pisces. See? And when those energies are interacting, there's excitement between the two planets. When they're in those signs and interacting with each other, then there's excitement going on. Okay? That's how come when you hear about these compatibility things, who am I compatible with? You know, where is their excitement at? You know, what signs is going to bring excitement into my life, or harmony into my life, or which signs is going to bring friction into my life. See, that's how you understand what's compatible and what's not compatible. Okay?
MyRa, excuse me. How is Pisces in sextile with Cancer or with Cancer?
Because on the chart, on an astrological chart, they're gonna form a 60-degree angle with each other. Okay, and most of the time, that angle is going to be with a sign. That angle is going to happen. Like if this is an earth sign, that's going to happen with a water sign. That angle is going to form up. That 60-degree angle is going to form up in the water sign. And the water signs are Cancer and Pisces. The other water sign would be in opposition. See, that's an opposition. Yeah, that's Scorpio. You're right. But see, the only reason it's not in sextile because it's in opposition. You understand? But the other two water signs, it's going to be in a sextile with. And that's going to apply with each element, just like you know, if we go through, you know, the fire, if we start at Aries, you know, Aries opposite is Libra, which is the air sign, but the other two air signs will be in a sextile relationship with Aries, which would be Gemini, the two air signs. We're talking about air. We're talking about air and fire here. We're talking about water and earth. Okay. So it will be in a sextile with Gemini, and it'll be in a sextile with Aquarius, and in opposition with the third one, you know, which would be Libra. Okay, and that is a 60-degree angle, and that is called a sextile. And this is how a sextile is represented.
What's the symbol for conjunction?
Okay, yeah, good. Good you reminded me of that. Conjunction, that's a conjunction. And that, like I said, that's within 10 degrees. Anytime they are within 10 degrees, so naturally that's going to be the same sign. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be the same sign. So when another planet comes up and it's at the same sign within 10 degrees of another planet, they're in conjunction. They're beginning a new cycle of things. Okay? That's a conjunction. That's how everything begins. That's how every idea, that's how every creation begins. With that conjunction. Okay? And I'm going to show you guys. I'm not, you know, I'm just going to give you the idea first. The next one we want to look at is a square. That's a 90-degree angle. And the symbol for a square is a square. And when you have the relationship, when you have a square, that's friction. But a better way to look at it is that's when you're trying to adapt, you know, to two energies that aren't that, you know, reliable. And we've talked about the square already because we talked about the crosses, you know. And if, say, any of the crosses, mutable, If we do mutable, fixed, or cardinal, but we talked about the fixed. And so let's say Aquarius, let's say Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. See, that's a 90-degree angle. That's why we call it the fixed cross. Nothing but friction between these. The same modes are usually at friction with each other. They're at that 90-degree angle. They'll be the same modes, but it'll be each element represented. See? Earth, fire, water, air. But these are all the fixed signs, and it'll be the same thing with the cardinal signs. It'll be the same thing with the mutable signs. They're always going to form that sort of reaction with each other. So, like I said about that fixed cross, you were only getting friction and opposition. You know? Which is what they call the hard angles. Okay?
So you're saying all the crosses are at 90 degrees?
Or either they're either at opposition with each other or they're at friction with each other. See, Taurus is in opposition to Scorpio. Leo is in opposition to Aquarius. But Aquarius is at that 90-degree square with Taurus. It's also at that 90-degree square with Scorpio. You know, and it'll all the way around. That's how it'll work. Okay? So when you see two planets at that 90-degree angle, you know, that's where you start getting some agitation, some friction. Okay? That's how you would read that. Like I said, here's the symbol, a square.
Now these symbols are used on charts?
Yes, yes they are. And the next one we have after the square is called a trine. That's 120 degrees. Okay? And a trine represents harmony.
What's the symbol?
Because what you're getting here is all of, like, you have, say that's Capricorn, then this would be Virgo, and this would be Taurus. What those signs have in common?
They're earth signs.
Ah, there you go. Earth signs. So when you get trine, when you get harmony, you know, it's like you know each other. These are all the earth elements. That'll happen, the trines will happen with the fire elements. The trines will happen with the air elements. Trines will happen with the water elements. So that's trine, that's harmonious. That's when when you see a trine going on in your chart, you know, then they're at harmony with you. This is a good time. It's a fruitful time for you to activate those energies because they're in harmony with each other.
So you can only have trines with signs of the same element.
Well, yeah. I mean, for basic learning right now, we're going to say that. But, you know, it can happen otherwise, but that's when you're on the fringe, you know, like when we're getting close to the end of a sign. Mm-hmm. And it may operate at that angle with another sign and another, you know, a different sign, mm-hmm. but it's only because it's on the fringe of those 30 degrees. So it doesn't always happen. But this will be the basic rule, mm-hmm. Okay? It's only when you're getting like toward the beginning or the end of a sign that it may interact in those angles with other signs, other elements, I should say. So that's the trine, that's harmony. And the last one we're going to talk about, we've been talking about all lesson long. Anybody want to tell me what that is? There we go. Well, I got some good students here. course, 180 degrees, because we're talking about a circle, aren't we? 360. So 180 degrees, and here's the symbol for opposition. And we've already discussed over, and we know Aries. When I say give me the opposite of Aries, Libra. Taurus. Taurus. Nah. Taurus. One thing, Taurus is an earth sign, so that means its opposite sign is going to be a water sign. Okay?
Taurus is Scorpio.
There you go, Scorpio. Gemini. There you go. Okay, and then Cancer.
I'm sorry. No, that's Capricorn.
There you go. That's okay. I don't mind that you cheat because you're still pulling that in, whether you know it or not. You're still pulling that information in. So look all you want. Just adapt yourself to that information. Okay, and then the last one we got is Virgo. That's right. Pisces. That's the whole zodiac in opposition. It's the whole zodiac in opposition, 180 degrees. And what does opposition mean? Okay, well, in Western philosophy or Western astrology, they're going to tell you that's your most challenging aspect. Of course, that's when you're challenged. That's when, you know, the opposite is making itself present for whatever idea you're presenting. You're coming up against that challenge or that opposition. Okay, so it can be your most challenging time. It was interesting. I was noting how many celebrities, where the sun was in their opposite sign, like Bill Cosby, when his son got killed. Bill Cosby's a Cancer. When his son got killed, the sun was in Capricorn. Okay? O.J. Simpson, I think he was going through a lot. He's Cancer also. He was going through a lot in Capricorn. I don't remember specifically what now, but you'll start noticing, even in your own sign. Like my daughter-in-law, she's not here right now. She's sick. You know, she's Virgo. Where's the sun at? Pisces. It's opposite sun. You know. So you're going to find that. Start checking out when the sun is in your opposite sign. That's going to be, but it can be a challenging time, but this is also the time to maximize your power. You maximize your power by balancing opposites. This is what is creative energy, because that's bringing those two halves together to make a whole. See? So this is where you find out whether or not your idea is going to work or it's going to fall during opposition. Okay? There's a lot more angles than that, but I'm just giving you the basics, okay? And this is pretty much what you're going to be dealing with. And what I'm going to do here, so that you can really get an idea, we're going to do this little, as Jimmy always said, the web, her web. Oh, yeah. That's what that is. And
natal and transit.
That's right. Absolutely right. This is the natal, this is the transit. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put my sun in. So I'll put my sun here. And that's at 17 degrees in Capricorn. And that's the 10th house. Okay? And I'm going to use Mars, because Mars, you can get a great idea about how, like I told you before, Mars is the most physical energy. It represents our most physical self, you know, because we're still talking about energies here. Mars represents our most physical, but we all know what Mars represents. It represents aggression, it represents action, it represents, you know, your punch in life. And so when you see Mars affecting the chart, you know that there's probably going to be some battling or some combat going on, some action going on. So that's why I'm going to use Mars, because it's easiest to understand, you know. So what first I'm going to start off with, of course, I'm going to start off with Mars at 17 degrees in Capricorn. So that's the beginning of a cycle. In other words, you know, there may be some battling. I'm getting ready to go into a cycle of battling. I'm getting ready to go into a cycle where I'm going to have to be doing some fighting. And since it's in the Capricorn, it means administrative, maybe, you know, some type of administrative battling. Okay, and since it's in the 10th house, you know, in the public, you know, maybe in my career or in the community, but it's going to be some public battling. That there's going to be this conjunction is going to indicate some public battling, a cycle of that beginning. Okay.
Could it also mean some difficulty with finance also?
Why would you say finance?
I mean, the Capricorn, it deals with money also as well, when it means prosperity.
Well, that's more Taurus. Capricorn is, I think, you know, it's an earth sign, which means it's going to be materialistic, but it's going to be more in an ambitious type of way. You know what I'm saying? It's more about the career. It's more about power than it is about money, you know. So if it was in Taurus, then I would say, I would agree with you. You know, I would say money. So, power is a better word for it because, like I said, the administrator in public, so administrating in public, that's usually power, you know. Okay. Now, well, let's move Mars to, let's move Mars right here. Okay? So that means that they're at an angle that represents that 60 degrees. Okay? So whatever began here, I'm getting ready to fight for something in my career. Now there's excitement going on here. In other words, whatever I have began, that cycle I began to fight for something in my career is taking fruit now. You know, I'm starting to feel excited about it because, you know, there's a good response there. There's an excitement of response there. It's, you know, the idea, you know, has got me excited because it seems to be catching on, you know. I'm really excited about that because, you know, those fights, those battles, you know, are producing, you know, some results that has me excited about my idea. And that's as the planets are traveling, you know, that's how they're traveling. And that's what that's producing. Okay? Now, anybody want to tell me what the next one would be? Or is it too soon?
For the 90 degree?
The 90 degree. What sign would I be looking at? Where would Mars be in order to be at friction with my sun, with my Capricorn sun? It would be it would be a cardinal sign. What would be the cardinal sign? What would be if the Mars is traveling this way, what would be the next cardinal sign that it would hit? Cancer. Because Capricorn is a cardinal sign. Try again. Try again. Aries. Aries. Aries is a cardinal sign. Fire. So that means that Mars would be sitting, you know, in the first house for me at 17 degrees in Aries. That's at a 90-degree angle. In other words, whatever concept or whatever idea, you know, that began here and took excitement at here, now all of a sudden, there's some problems, there's some frictions, you know, there's something you're going to have to work out, you know, something has to work out. And here we're trying to mix earth and fire. So, in other words, this is the sign of battles. This is the sign of passion. And so, and here I am battling over here, but there's probably more energy over here when it comes to battling. So I'm getting some friction. In other words, I may be fighting all I want, but I got more fight coming up against me. And that's causing that friction. See, those are in the same, see, and see, Capricorn is a cardinal sign, and so is Aries. So we both want to lead. So we got Aries energy wanting to lead, and we got Capricorn energy wanting to lead. So there's friction. See? So that's how it's making its cycle. That's how it's making its cycle. And then the next one would be the trine, which would be the same element. 120. Got my Taurus now. Because that's an earth sign. That's the earth sign. Okay? It's also going to be, you know, in trine with, over here when you come over on the other side, it's going to be in Virgo. You understand? So there's going to be a trine going on here, if there's a planet here. If there's a planet here. And there's going to be a trine going on here. See that? See, and so, and then and then as it moves around, the next thing is the opposition. Right here, Cancer, opposite sign of Capricorn. So we'll get Mars here in Cancer, 17 degrees, we got an opposition. And that's when my idea is going to really be challenged. That's when it's going to really say, you know, is this going to work or not? You know, that's when I'm going to really feel like, you know, this is going to work, or I feel like it's not, you know, it's not. Okay? And then after it does the 1/2, then what it'll do is repeat those angles, only in the opposite way. Now we're going to move into a trine. You know, in other words, if that challenge does not take me out, then I get past that opposition, then I move into another harmonious relationship. And all of a sudden, you know, it's bearing fruit again. It's harmonious. Things are working out, you know. And then, of course, it moves back around. We're going to get some more friction. Final test, you know. Final test. Things that need to be worked out. You know, on back around. Next thing you know, we have the, what is it, the sextile? You know, where there's excitement and it's catching hold. You know, and then the last thing we have, of course, is the conjunction. That's the completion of that cycle. You've done the full cycle, and you've made it whole. You put both halves together, you made it whole, and now we begin a new cycle again. See?
So, with that complete cycle, there'll be like the same issue or the same matter?
Yeah, at a higher level. Okay. At a higher level, yeah. And there may be some differences, you know, because it may, there, you know, of course there are going to be some differences because there's going to be some other planets lined in other areas, and, you know, it may be some variables, that may be some things that come into the mix that didn't come in before, but you're still basically dealing with, if we're dealing with Mars and my sun, we're still dealing with the same basic energy. So maybe I've completed this, and I say it's a business or something, and I've got the business started, you know, and now a new cycle begins where I actually got to start running that business, you know, and I got to start doing some more battling to keep that business going or flowing.
So it builds upon.
Yeah, it builds upon. It's like cycles, like I told you before. Once you complete a cycle, you know, that's why it's in the circle, because that's the infinity, you know. So you just complete one cycle, and you begin another one, you know, at a higher level this time. See?
Approximately how long would it take for a cycle?
Well, it depends on which planet you're looking at. like I said, it takes,
Sun's fast.
yeah, the sun, it takes the sun a year to make its trip through all the signs, okay? It takes the moon 2 days, a month to make it through each, it takes it 2 days through each sign, but a month through the whole cycle, okay? And then the planet goes out further and further. Yeah, Mercury would be the next, and after the sun, and it's always very close to the sun. It's a little bit, you know, just a little bit slower. Like the sun moves 1 degree every day. 1 degree every day, okay? So that means that Mercury would just probably move slightly faster than that. I mean, excuse me, slightly slower than that. And then, like we said, then after that would be what, Venus, you know, and then Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. The farther out they go, like I said, Pluto, it takes it 20 years approximately. So the farther out it goes, the slower it takes to make that cycle.
You know, like this, like you gave us last week.
Yes, right. I think, what is it, about 270 years for Pluto to make a complete cycle. Wow. About 270 years.
What about Planet X?
Planet X?
Mm-hmm.
You want to, okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just asking.
Oh, I have no idea. What do you mean by Planet X?
Oh, it's a planet that they supposedly discovered behind Pluto. It has kind of like elliptical orbit.
Oh, okay.
It takes it so many thousands of years, and when it comes in, you've heard of the 12th planet, haven't you?
Is that Nibiru? Nibiru. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the one they're talking
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay.
The one supposed to have created us?
It's supposed to have created us?
To our mine the minerals and remember Independence Day?
Yes.
Somewhat similar to that.
Oh,
They come here to
yeah.
just rob us to get all the minerals and everything. And once it was created, we rebelled against them. And
Oh, okay.
look at up here.
Oh,
You got about 8 or 10 more books.
Okay. Okay, well, see, you know,
And they've been talking about it recently. But they can see it coming this way.
okay. I still think they're obscuring that with Saturn.
Okay, maybe
And
so.
Saturn was the one that, you know, is really the creator, yeah, of this earth and us. And, you know, and they're going to put any other name to it than Saturn because they probably know that we've already figured out that Saturn is us, our energy. And when I was telling you about how the return of Saturn,
Right.
they're talking about it's coming back.
See? Pitch black.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. Wait till you see the
Oh,
movie.
okay, I got to see it.
Then
Then
it
something
says
told me.
fight evil with evil. It's like, what are they trying to say about that? You know, wait till you see it. You'll
Yeah,
all
see,
the
it all falls into place here.
It's called Pitch Black. Pitch Black. It's out. Yeah, I saw that in Mission to Mars.
Yeah.
We were talking about it.
Why do they make all the
Pitch
creatures
black.
white? Solid white, aren't they?
Which one?
All the creatures are solid white, aren't they?
Which creatures?
The animals in pitch black?
In Pitch Black? No, they're black. Cause see,
I
when
thought they were
you'll
white.
see in the movie, but when it becomes pitch black, when those two planets come together, they have these coming out, which is supposed to be us. I'm telling you, wait till you see
Yeah,
it.
but aren't
And
they
have
solid
an
white?
evil. No.
Okay.
No, they're
In the
black.
commercials, I thought they looked white against the light.
Do they show them as black? I mean, do
See,
you know?
See, when they have the white boy in there who has something with his eyes, it's a gift where he can see in the dark. Then they're like white. They're like this light.
Okay.
When it's shown through his eyes.
They look like
Flying
bats or
through the
something?
sky. Yeah, like big.
And then like we were talking about the picture of Mission to Mars, you know, they ended up going, like we were discussing beforehand, the face, of course, had a nose thinner than thin. I mean, I didn't even see the white folks.
Ridiculous.
I didn't even see the white folks with a nose that thin.
Pointed.
And then when they showed the Martian, the Martian had luminous blue eyes. And then it was like
What color was it?
golden,
brown.
yeah,
With
golden
blue
brown,
Yeah.
yeah, with these blue eyes just beaming out.
Yeah.
And then what it showed was like they showed the Martian
Grabbing
and the
white
white man
hand.
grabbing
Of
hands.
course.
You know, so it was like they've been waiting all this time for this white man to get here,
Yeah.
so they can make their move. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but the movie was comical because it shows you just how desperate they are.
Well, that's like these old monster movies where these creatures come from another planet and all he wants is a white woman. Ugly as he is to us, the white woman look beautiful.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
impossible.
You know, right. So, you know, as I've been preaching, or saying, is that, you know, they want to make everything appear in its opposite. You know, so our job is to transform transform that information. You know, so whatever they have bad to say, you know, it's actually, they're presenting it in its opposite.
Right. Just like the movie The Matrix.
The Matrix. Right. And that movie, and that's why it was so laughable, this Mission to Mars, because, I mean, you know, the audience sat there for a minute as if to, you know, to digest the information, and then they just kind of giggled. They kind of laughed because it was, you know, it's comical, you know, because you're desperately trying to put forth something. Now, everybody knows the face on Mars. Everybody knows is a black face on Mars because, for one thing, they're talking about the how wide the nose is.
Yeah.
So why do you think they want to show a movie with the nose this thin? You see? That's just an example of that. And then why are they going to make it their business to make the Martian with these luminous blue eyes? You know?
Oh, and did you see when they were talking about how the humans started with the fish?
Yeah, you know, the animals, you know,
the elephant.
Yeah, how they changed over into.
And then the man.
Yeah, the man's like, chasing behind him with a spear.
It's like,
you know?
in North America. It's like, come on. I was just having a fit.
That's just it. To me, the movie explained desperate. They were desperate because they were desperate to put forth some ideas or concepts which they knew, was purely the opposite. And I found it very interesting the way the audience responded to it, because they were like, they had to end up laughing because they were like, this is ridiculous. You didn't even have to be a conscious person to see how desperate they were to put forth something that we all know is in its opposite. See, so to me that spelled, that they were truly, truly desperate. See? So. That's what that indicates. So it was really funny to me. And like we've been talking, the more they work toward presenting an idea, the more you understand it in its opposite and understand it in its full realm. What it really means, and that's how we will begin to redefine our reality. By making that jump from the material or the physical to the spiritual meaning, and then we're getting the full picture, the full understanding, what they're so desperately trying to keep from us, see. But we know now, we got to keep, we understand, just like I said last week, there's always there's a common ground, but the spirit is the opposite of the physical. And if we're always operating under that dual principle, you always understand whatever is presented on the physical level is represented in its opposite on the spiritual level. And there's that common ground. Remember my niggas, that's one of the best examples I can give you. Niggas, and it means King of Kings. So that's what we need to realize. That's what we need to understand.
Not to play into their whole pronunciation thing, because sometimes they like to pronounce it niggas.
Yeah, and then like
just to throw you out something, not to play into that.
And then get some old Southern cracker. Hollering at the niggas, you niggas. They're calling us King of Kings, and they don't even know it. We didn't know it. But this is what we got to start knowing. We got to start understanding. They're going to try their hardest to denigrate, exactly what they know to be true.
Yeah.
And the last thing they want us to realize is our prominence, our status, our role in this whole big picture. So that, so like we were looking at Neptune, and where Neptune is sitting in the sky right now, and how Neptune indicates deception, you know, it's also spiritual. We're going to have a spiritual awakening because it's sitting in Aquarius, which is the sign of the truth bearer, you know. So it's going to be a spiritual awakening, but at the same, on the physical level, there's going to be all this propaganda, and you're really seeing it in the news every day. You're seeing it because every time we accept or we're complacent about even the John Rocker thing, the Ralph David Abernathy thing. I don't care anything about Ralph David Abernathy, you know. But this was a way for them to use a black man and bring him down. This thing that's going on, what's his name, Alameen? H. Rap Brown. They were after this man, what was it, about a year ago.
Yeah.
They up there, they're going to say, he shot at somebody, and then the guy recanted the story and admitted that it was the police coercing him into saying that it was him that did that. So they're persistent. They're going to come back at him again. I mean, that story doesn't make any sense. Okay, they come and he just starts firing away. Give me a break. Give me a break.
On the a news program this morning, it's national news, they were saying that he should have been locked. Well, this guy was the Rifle Association was saying that this guy, well, H. Brown should have been locked up last year when he shot someone then. They didn't go into the details.
Yeah.
It wasn't true.
It wasn't true.
Yeah, but they just going to let you
Right,
know that he shot
zero
someone.
right in. What they start doing? The first thing they start talking about, Black Panther. He's a member of the Black Panther. You know. Now, I mean, this is years, decades
They
ago.
never stated he was a Muslim minister.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You know, and what I loved about it, and what we are starting to do now, what we haven't been doing, is that they interviewed several people who said, oh no, that's not him. That's not his life. You know, does it make sense? You know, we don't believe it. Now, we got to start doing that as black people.
That's right.
You know, we got to see it was purposely some black cops that got hurt and got killed because they want to turn the black community against them. And any method they can use to turn the community against a black figure, especially a male black figure, that is sending any type of positive or any type of prominent, you know, status there. That's why I mentioned Ralph David Abernathy. You know, as comical as he is, he was still too much of a threat as far as the image they want the people to perceive of black men in the society. They didn't have anything on him. They made something. You know, they made something to get him. You know, it's ridiculous.
And Prince Charles is buying up the West End. His holding companies.
Really? Prince Charles?
Knew that holding companies are buying up the West End. So that's
no.
part of what he's sitting in the middle of. He organized a lot of people in that area. He may
Oh,
just be in his
no.
way.
So they had to get him out the way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some of the your Indian mounds, some of at the various parts were mounds.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This whole United States was covered with them. This whole, you know, continent was covered with pyramids.
Well,
You don't know about them.
Yeah. One witness said that they came there to kill him.
Absolutely. They came to kill
He was going
him.
to say it was self-defense.
Right.
So evidently that's probably why he had to take his gun.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. You know, why would this man, being in the
Start shooting
community,
people
you know,
down.
knowing they're after him, just going to open up and start shooting at some deputies for no reason at all?
Or they want
You
to
know,
serve a warrant.
Yeah, because they want to serve a
They
warrant.
haven't found him
What
yet?
was the warrant for?
Well, the warrant was based upon a car account. I think he just said he was driving a stolen car and that he was impersonating
They said he was.
badge. That he said that they assumed that he was
This happened a
also
while ago.
impersonating an officer. For that reason, they was going to have him summons to come to court. But
Also stolen goods. Said he was doing stolen goods. He
And
was
where they get
impersonating
that
an
from?
officer. Who knows? But that's what the warrant was about. Impersonating an officer and stolen goods. As though he was selling drugs and.
They're going to manufacture. They got a new law. They got a law now they're really enforcing now. It's called, what is it called? Criminal trespassing. Criminal trespassing. That means you can be late on your rent. You can be late on your rent. And they can charge you with criminal trespassing. I had someone tell me that they went to take some merchant back merchandise back to a store. It was, I think, Office or Home Depot or one of them. They went to take some merchandise and they didn't want to take it back, and they complained. Call the police, criminal trespassing.
Well, you know, back in the 70s, we used to have the black Muslims, what used to be Broad Street downtown, it's not anymore, because it's where the mall is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they came up with the safe street and sidewalk ordinance. They enabled policemen to lock anybody else up on the street that they wanted to, just on the sidewalk. And they was really after the Muslims.
Right.
A fight broke out.
Right.
And a lot of policemen got hurt behind it.
And see what they'll do, they'll manufacture a reason. You know, and don't let them think they got a reason. They'll manufacture a reason. I told it's going to be against the law to go get your mail pretty soon. You know, they're making hundreds of laws a day. You know, so that they can catch you in that network. You know, and they'll manufacture a reason, and especially when they're trying to get a bill passed. You know, they'll go and do. You know, they'll go shoot up some people. You know, just to say, you know, we need gun control, or you know, whenever they're trying.
Clinton's doing now.
Yeah, they'll try and they'll create reasons for them to be able to the scare tactic. That's what they're using, the scare tactic. And they say this man, he had cleaned up prostitution in that area, drugs. You know, but see, that's just it. He was doing a very positive thing. I knew a lady. You know, I worked with, you know, because I worked with a lady. See, I'm involved with the Million Man March organization. I'm the president of the organization here in Atlanta, okay? And we worked with a lady who had homeless. She was taking homeless women and children off the street and bringing them, give them home, give them computer training, give them psychological counseling, finding them apartments, getting them jobs. And they ended up charging her with Medicaid fraud because of the counseling. She said that they said that they really didn't need the type of counseling that she was getting, and that they were bilking Medicaid. And they ended up giving her and her son, because he was managing, they gave her 2 years, gave him 18 months, you know, because she was taking these people off the street. And they requested that they at least be sent to a boot camp in Atlanta. Her son got sent to a boot camp in Atlanta. They sent her off to a prison in Texas somewhere. And she had been pulling stuff off the internet about the Texas penitentiaries, you know, and how corrupt they were. And all of a sudden, she gets sent there. And 2 weeks later, the woman went into a coma. 2 weeks, a month after she went into the pen, she was dead. Okay? And this is a woman that was taking homeless children and women off the streets. So you want to say, why would they go after, you know, they're going to go after any positive, any person, any black person that's doing anything positive for the community. That's not the message that they want out there. They want us presented as, Bobby got on this one, Bobby Hemmett got on this one about the, one of the top magazines was doing an article on the women of the new millennium. And they had all these they had Asians, they had white people, they're all in their gowns, elegant gowns from head to toe. They've got these elegant gowns, gold, black, you know, just so elegant, you know, they're just page after page after page. Until you get the last page where they had the sister.
Little Kim.
You want to guess? Little Kim. She had on a blonde wig.
Representing the black woman.
She had a blonde wig on, and she had on a knit blouse. Knit.
Yeah, with the blue contacts, everything.
Blue contacts, everything, and you could see everything.
What was this? Was it Vogue? Was it
It's
Vogue?
Vogue. It's something.
Yeah,
one of their
Bobby
top
had it, one of
magazines.
his lectures.
And they were doing a special on. So
only black.
You want to talk about propaganda. You want to talk about what they're trying to put out there. What they're trying for us to you know, what they're, and the masses of our people is buying this.
Yeah, they are.
You know, this is subliminal.
Yep.
You know? So, this is what we have to be aware of, you know. This is the image. So when you see these attacks, you know, don't believe all the garbage. You know there's something behind that.
I'm just wondering if they're going to try to do something to jeopardize, to discredit the gathering of the masses. We're talking about paying for this and that, and college.
Well, you know, right, because this is the metaphysical, and this is our key, you guys.
This is what they're trying to keep us from.
Right, this is what they're trying to keep us from, because,
you
know, this is the kind of information you get out of the metaphysical. See? So they've already got control of the other methods and means that we have had, you know, political, whatever. They got control of that. So the metaphysical, they can't do nothing with that. So the best thing, and this is what's going to open up things for us. This is what's going to open us up to our powers. And don't forget, anything that happens in Atlanta is going to take special significance, because this is Armageddon land. I call it Armageddon land. You turn Atlanta, you turn the world. We got the deadest people here. You know what I'm saying? You turn Atlanta, you turn the world. This is Armageddon land, the land of metamorphosis. You know, it's no coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. Atlantis, you know, all this is, so anything, that's why they had the Olympics here. That's why they had, you know, the Super Bowl here. All that is, you know, a metaphysical way of presenting, you know, what it is that they want to see metamorphosis, you know, what come about, you know. So anything that happens in Atlanta is going to have special significance, and they're going to have their eye on it. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. But well,
I know
we can counter that, can't we?
You're right.
You know, we send our positive vibes. You know, they're nothing. They're nothing. See, that's why they want to keep us so blind, because they know once we come together in a collective consciousness to make whatever we want, they can't do nothing.
But you know what's? I just thought of something when you were talking about this, about their fear. What's interesting to me, and it's been going on for a while, is I see them as being really, really desperate with this cloning thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was listening just the other day, you know, like, wow, they're really trying really hard.
Right.
They know they're disappearing. They gotta start cloning.
And see, they can't take our energy.
Right.
They can't take our energy. You know, a couple of us get together for something positive. You know, why do you think they had such a why did they have such a problem with Freaknik before you know, they found a reason. Why? Because that was too many of us conversion. They can't take that. Well, I remember going down, it was in the West End area where the young folks used to like to, you know, congregate on Friday nights. I seen them bring a helicopter.
Yeah, they don't want that.
And you're thinking,
a group of us together.
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking, why?
Older.
You know, they weren't causing any problem. They weren't doing anything, but they had to break that up. They can't take our collective energy.
And a couple of years ago, I found out, I mean, I don't have the exact information, I can't remember, it was a lecture. The same time in April that they Freaknik gather here, it's a celebration also in Africa at the same time.
Is that right?
Singing ceremony.
Right.
Is that right? Wow. So yeah, see that, you know, so they're gonna find a way to denigrate it. You know, they're gonna sit up there. They sent the prostitutes out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's make this a, you know, let's discredit it. You know what I'm saying?
They sent the what do you call it, the Shake Booty Club sisters out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
When I was in school, I was a part of organization, and we knew it was important to still have the gathering, so we were, you know, trying to turn it into Freedom Fest, but at the same time, they just came.
They just, absolutely, just took over.
Yeah,
right. And then, you know, like you were talking about the clones, you know, because that's why. Once they clone us, you know, we are just like them. We don't have that energy.
Right.
See, and they can't take our energy. So that's the reason why. This is where they can remove a big bulk of us without anybody raising any fuss. And plus, you know, not have to deal with that energy. See. So, yeah, they're doing everything they can, you know. Okay, the homework. It's time to, you know. So, it's interesting to see what you guys found in doing your homework, because I know it sounds more complicated, but when you start doing it, did you find things fell into? Actually, no.
I was going to call you earlier this afternoon. I want to see.
Okay, you knew what sign your planet fell in, right?
The rising, right?
Okay.
I understood what the assignment was when I left here Sunday.
Right.
But when I went to do it,
you had some problems with it. Okay. What you should, okay, now, You, let me see your chart, the one you got. Not the one you made, the one you got on yourself. This one here, okay. You have an Aquarius rising, okay? So what I wanted you to do was put Aquarius for the energy of your first house, okay? You had to start with that. And then after that, you would go around to, this is Pisces.
Now those are signs, because you said to the planet.
Yeah, you said.
I know, but
Okay,
you had
You had to put those in first.
Yes, I explained that.
I know you did. I'm saying I saw that at the same time. I'm like,
But let me show you how it goes, okay?
Okay.
Once you did that, you did Pisces here, Aries here, Taurus here, Gemini here, Cancer, then you have Leo, and then you have, what's that, Virgo, and then you have Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. Okay? Now,
what confused me, I mean, not that it necessarily confused me, it just threw me off track. Well, that's why I didn't complete the assignment. Was the fact that on my chart, they weren't, and I know it's simple, but they weren't like lined up with the houses and stuff like that.
they weren't, oh, I told y'all,
I know, that's what I'm.
You made it more complicated. I said, don't worry about the degrees, don't worry about the overlap.
Okay.
Just do each sign for each house. Did I not say that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're going to start with your son. You know, I mean, you don't mind, do you? You don't mind? Okay. You have, what, a Leo sun. So where is that planet going to fall? In what house? This was the assignment. She has a Leo sun. Where will we put that planet, according to this?
Leo sun?
She has a Leo sun. Which house would it fall in? Which house would that planet fall in?
Leo.
The seventh house?
7. Yeah, right there.
That's the assignment. That was the assignment.
Okay. Oh,
Because you
wow.
have a Leo's. First you found out what energy rules what house. If you know you had a Leo sun, then you would put that planet. So what should have been in here? Excuse me, that's the transcript
So
right there.
mine is in the 5th house. My son is in the 5th house.
And probably you had a problem because you were looking at your real chart.
Yeah.
And actually your sun falls in your 6th house because of the degree. But that's why I said don't pay attention to that. We're not worried about the degrees right now. Okay, now your moon. She has a Taurus moon.
So that would be.
His second house.
Okay. We're looking at her chart now.
Third house.
What Cancer is?
Oh, I'm sorry. You said Taurus?
Yes. That
Taurus
is
is right
wait,
there.
wait,
First,
wait,
second,
this is
third.
1,
Third
2,
house.
this is 3,
Oh, 4th house.
this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, wait a minute. I'm off somewhere here.
1, 2.
Oh, I see.
Over there.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the 3rd house.
Yeah. I see. Okay. 1, that's 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. See, once you knew the sign of your planet, you should have been able to put it in your houses. Okay? And so we said her moon was in Taurus, which means that, you see what I have on the, there's Taurus,
Okay, so it'll be the fourth house.
the 4th house. So that means her moon would go there. And that's all you had to do was go down each planet, see what sign they set in, and according to where they fell, because of your rising sign, you know, then you should have been able to place each planet in its proper house. And also using the color of that planet. See? So, is it cleared up now? I still see some, huh?
Okay. Okay, repeat that again for me. Why is the moon
In your fourth house?
Taurus?
It's just how, I'm just using a calculated chart
Moon
here.
is in Taurus.
Your chart had been calculated where your moon fell in the sign of Taurus. And so since you knew your moon fell in the sign of Taurus, the Taurus energy is ruling the fourth house. So that's where
That's what I'm asking. Why did it fall in Taurus?
Why did...
I'm sorry, I missed it.
No. It's just the way it's calculated, okay? When
From
you put the
horizon
time of
sign.
birth and your date of birth and where you were born, then that's how
Okay.
the planets fell, okay?
So in those 30 days that it takes the moon to rotate through all the signs, it happened to fall in that sign.
At the
for
time
her
she was
when you
born.
were born.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, at the time she was born. That's how, you know. And then by using that, and then the next one would be what, Mercury? Her Mercury is in Leo. So that should be easy. Seventh house.
I'm sorry.
You don't have it? No, don't be so, come on, really. I'm not, I want you to learn. That's what I'm here for. I want you to learn.
This is due because you're starting, it all starts with where the sun, and it just...
No, it's dependent on your rising sign.
Okay.
It was just calculated that way that you, at the time you were born, that's the sign that was rising over the horizon line. So you have an Aquarius rising. So whatever rising you have is going to go in the first house. And then the sign after Aquarius is Pisces, so it'll go in the second house. Sign after that, go in the third house. You just bring them on around.
That's how Taurus ended up.
So that's what makes up your houses.
I understand that part.
Okay.
Get to the planets. Get to that.
And now,
Yeah, same here. Planets.
I asked you guys.
Sun, I got.
Yeah.
The moon, but
Right. You see, I had done your chart too. And this is why I asked everybody, I said, most of you have your own chart, so you already know what sign your planets fall in, okay?
You see, I wasn't looking at it. I just wanted to
same
do
here,
it by
same here.
understanding it.
Well, you need to know what sign it is in. You can't do it unless you know what sign it is in.
oh, okay.
Oh.
See,
Okay.
that's why I was asking those who didn't know to come up to me and I would give them that information. And those who already had their chart, they could look on their chart and see what sign their planet fell
So
in.
I would have just been transferring that to
Not really, because like I said, if you'd have done that, your son would have fell in the sixth house. We weren't working with degrees. We were working with just being able to identify what sign
Signs are in what
ruled
house.
what house,
From your
and if you knew what planet fell in what sign, then you would know what sign, what house to put that planet in.
Okay.
You got it now?
Okay. I was making it harder than.
Yeah, you guys, you're complicating it more than it is.
Yeah,
to me.
absolutely right.
And that's why I thought when I started this, I said, okay, once you started working on your homework, then you'll find that it was easier than it sounded. But no.
Right.
But I still don't think you have it though,
No.
Z.
No.
Okay. When you were born, each one of your planets fell in a certain sign.
Right.
Okay? Your sun, fell in Leo. And just as we described, your moon fell in Taurus. Your Mercury fell in Leo. Okay?
That's based upon where the signs are.
That's based upon, and I only know this because of this.
Okay.
I only know this because I'm looking at this.
Okay.
And that is a chart that you've already had calculated. So that helped me to know where your planets, what sign your planets fell in. Okay. And by you having this Aquarius rising, we were able to set what energies went in what house. What signs went in what house. And once you knew what signs went in what house, when you found out what planet was in what sign, that should have told you what house to put it in.
I got you.
Got it now?
Got you.
Okay.
Got you. So, for instance, the Mars, so the Mars would be in my Aquarius, which would be the third house.
Your Mars, okay, but right here it shows that you have a Leo Mars. You have a Leo Mars. And I only know that by looking at this.
Okay.
You have a Leo Mars, so that means it would go back into your 7th house with your other Leo energy. Because see, Leo is what fell in the 7th house. You didn't see. Because your Aquarius rising, and that's where Leo fell when you put the signs in their order around in their houses. Leo energy is in the 7th house, so any planet with Leo energy would fall in that 7th house. Okay? And, you know, and remember opposites, because Aquarius is the opposite of Leo. Now, the 1st house is the opposite of the 7th house. It goes like that, okay? So, if you want to know, if you know you have an Aquarius rising, then you know your 7th house is automatically going to be the opposite of the Aquarius, which is Leo, okay? That's just a shortcut to figuring things out like that, okay? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Do y'all understand? Did you get yours? Did you do yours?
I didn't get a chance to, but I understood you
got
from
you
the
got
beginning.
it. Okay. Because the next step, now that means y'all got double homework, but you got 2 weeks to do it.
Yeah.
But the next step is, the next part of the homework is, remember I gave you those pages, those ephemeris pages for the month of March?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to look at the last day, March 31st. And in pencil only, I want you to put the planets, the transit planets now, in their houses. The same way you did with your natal planets.
Transit planets.
Yeah. So you're going to end up doing the same thing I did last week with my chart. Confusion.
Yeah.
The ephemeris. Look at the last day.
Right.
I'll give you the first one. The first one was the sun in.
13 degrees in Aquarius.
13 degrees in Aquarius, and we're not going to worry about the degrees.
That's the moon. Oh.
No, the moon. We're talking about the moon.
Yeah.
The transit moon. So all that means is that for Z, she's going to put the moon, the transit moon, and remember we're working with the outer circle here.
Right, the outer circle.
She's going to put the moon in the house, the Aquarius, which will be right here. See, now she doesn't have any natal planets in her 1st house, so we're not getting any direct interaction. Okay, but that's going to happen as she puts all the rest of her planets somewhere. You're going to start seeing, and then you're going to start seeing the angles we went over today. You know,
conjunction, trine,
right?
and
You're going to start seeing those angles. See. But that's all, it's going to be really what you did with your natal, but now you're going to be doing it with your transit.
Oh,
Okay? You're going to be you're going to use the ephemeris to put the transit in its house. Right. And then when you do that, you're going to see how those transits are interacting with your natal.
According to our chart. My chart.
Your chart.
Starting
you're going to finish out.
Okay.
You're going to go ahead and put your natal planets, now that you know how to do that.
Yeah.
Now you're going to just do, the second step is to do it with the transit planets, using that ephemeris. And when you do that, then you're going to see what planets, what transits are affecting your natal.
Oh, okay.
You see?
On this day.
On that day, on the 31st. You're going to see that. Okay. And then we're going to meet back up on the 2nd of April.
Okay.
That's why I picked the 31st. And then so that you'll be able to, you can, if you can look at it, and start, you know, y'all still got that first sheet that I passed out, that first homework sheet, where you filled in the symbols?
That's what we've been doing back
Yeah. Well, I want you to, yeah, absolutely. Now, when you do that, what I want you to do is start seeing. Now, you'll say, okay, my moon, look up moon. First thing you'll do.
Emotion.
That's what I was trying to do. I used that to try to do today's assignment.
So you're going to look at the 1st house, and you're going to say the transit moon, which is emotions, is in her 1st house. Look at the 1st house.
1st house is actions.
Okay,
Actions.
so emotions, emotional actions, you know, emotional actions, and It's in the sign of Aquarius. Look up Aquarius.
The rebel.
The rebel. So you put those three things together. Emotions, the rebel, and actions. And that puts together the concept of what's going on. How you're being influenced by the transit planet. And if there's a planet in the house, then it's also interacting with your natal planet. So then you got some more understanding. It's affecting something directly in your house. See, right here we're just looking at, the emotions in the first house of actions, in the sign of Aquarius, the rebel. So we're just looking at those three things. But we're not looking at no interaction of planets because there's nothing in our first house. Unless you're brave enough to look at the angles that I just gave you. Unless you're brave enough to say, well, Aquarius is a fixed sign, that means that it's at a sextile with Aries. It's at a sextile with her third house.
So there'll be excitement.
There'll be excitement between her first house and her third house. Her first house is action. Her third house is mental. So we got mental actions, excitement. That's how you read a chart. That's how you read a chart. And I don't expect for you to understand. You probably don't consciously, but you do.
Yeah.
You do. And once you start working with it, you'll start seeing. You understand? You'll start understanding. You'll start seeing. I can't explain it, but when you start working with it, you'll start seeing. You will.
Before we go any further, I think I missed some information. The Uranus. What sign is that?
What sign is Uranus?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You talking about? Oh, okay. You talking about what sign is associated with
Yeah.
Uranus? Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Remember when I was telling y'all last week how right now Uranus is sitting in Aquarius, and for a natural chart it's sitting in its 11th house that rules. So all those three Aquarian or energies are together. Get your chart back. Okay. So, I know it might you might not seem like you understand, but once you start working with it, then you'll start understanding. It'll start coming together for you. Okay? It'll start coming together for you. And so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it if you really don't have the idea right now. But if you understand that where these signs, these energy signs are falling, and you know what sign your planets fall in, either the transits or your natal, then you can put those planets in its house. Because that's where you're going to find that energy at. Whatever energy it represents is the house you're going to put it in, is whatever house is, working there. And then once you start doing that, you'll start understanding, and then, then maybe you'll start understanding. And see, that's what the workbooks are all about. Because I don't expect for you to really get all this right now. But the more you work with it, and when you have the information at your hands, at your fingertips, you can go back and look up, like she just said, what Uranus, I'll have, and what I'm going to do too is I'm going to color code each page, so that if you want to find something that deals with fire, you're going to look for a red page. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to color code it. So everything that you're going to need to continue to grow in understanding about this, you'll have at your fingertips. And then you'll also have your chart in there to work with so that you can start understanding. So it'll start making sense. So it'll start coming together. So you'll start realizing how these things are interacting. Okay? And that's all we're trying to do is interact and integrate energies. Okay? So is there any questions? Any questions whatsoever over whatever we've talked about or covered, or anything? We can finish up. I don't know how much time we have, but we can finish up.
I have a question.
Okay.
On my chart, I can't remember the exact time I was born. I'm getting that information. It's 6 something.
Okay.
But I know I have several empty houses.
Okay.
And I heard you one day say I think you said you felt sorry or something. I know I'm not balanced.
No.
My house.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
If you judge a person by the chart,
what we were talking about at that particular time, that there was no planets in my 11th house.
Okay.
Okay? And in the 11th house is your house of friendships. And you know, so what we were saying, because a brother had asked me before about that. He said, if there's no planets in your 11th house,
You ain't got no friends.
no, not him, it was someone else. He was asking me, he was saying, if you had nothing there, you know, isn't that? And I said, and I was like, yes, that is kind of a sad thing, particularly your 11th house, because it just means you didn't get much validation growing up. You probably didn't have very many friends, okay? You probably didn't get very much validation by your 11th house being empty. That's what that could indicate, okay? That's what I was talking about was sad. But as far as empty houses go, and I went on to use that as an example to explain that, you know, I have plenty of friends now. I might not have friends growing up, but I have plenty because the transits came and activated that area. And then you can draw on it, and whenever you have, like I said, when you have empty areas, it's the transit's job to activate that area, you know, because you're not going to normally do it yourself, naturally do it yourself, because you have no, you know, really don't have the inclination to work with that. You're going to be working with wherever the planets are. So that's why the transits will come around and activate areas that you're not prone to work with naturally, so that you become whole, so that you work with all those energies, so that you become full.
Okay, let me ask you a question. And I know you were joking, but in jokingly serious about that particular house. You were saying that yours was empty.
Right.
Is it really, even whether it was then or now, is it really a sad thing if that's the way it was at birth and you're comfortable with it?
Right.
It's your comfort zone and you prefer it that way.
Right, right. Oh, I do now. Later, now that I know.
Any of the houses.
Yeah, but any of the houses, I'm
if
very.
It's empty. If the person is, it's different if you're not comfortable with it. But if you're comfortable in that area, it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad. And see, the thing is that this is the whole lesson of astrology, to learn how to integrate those energies. In other words, be comfortable with any energy, okay, regardless of if you have planets there or not. In other words, I'm not just worried about what my sun is or where my planets are sitting. I need to bring all, because even if you don't have planets there, you still have energy there.
Okay.
You still have energy there. And so it's just that a matter of access. Wherever you have the planets are, it's easier to access that energy.
Right.
So that's why the transit will give you a planet to help you access that energy.
And that's what you talked about last week, right? And I wasn't here. So I
And so, you know, so no, it's, and see, even when I was talking about the friction, the square, I remember I said that's either friction or growth,
Right.
because it only means that, you know, where you don't have planets at, it only means that something's going to cause you to grow in that area, going to activate that area. In other words, I'm already cultivating this area, but now I'm going to grow here. You know, this is a part of me becoming full. And you may look back, you know, but you had to actually work at, you know, coming to understand that energy, where this one came natural for you. And anything you work at is more worthy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You feel like you've accomplished more when you've grown into something. You know, you know, I like to play the dogs. You know, and I always like to see the dog. I don't like to see the dog I don't want to put my money on the dog that jumps out the box in the beginning and bleeding in the beginning, because those that come up and pass them in the end is the one that really counts, you see? So I'm just using that as an example of the same way that you grow into that energy, you know, what you're naturally prone to work with, you know, you're comfortable with that, but what you have to work at, what you have to bring in, what has to be activated, what you cultivate, you know, that's growth, you know. So yeah, you look back and you say, well, I used to be friendless, but I learned how to cultivate the energy so that now I have an abundance of friends.
Or the opposite can happen.
Yeah. That's right. If you're not, you know, and that's why it's so important to understand this stuff.
Right.
So that you can use it to its positive, rather than it just, the negative just taking you on its own flow. You see, you be the steer. You guide that. You say, well, you know, I didn't, but this is what I got to do. This is the energy I got to cultivate. You know, say, let's use this chart for an example. Say she wanted to find a mate.
Come on, she's another topic.
Say she wanted to find, and she met some guy, okay, and let's say that he was a rebel, you know, he's a rebel, okay, and let's say that his Aquarius energy fell in his 5th house, okay. So you want to know, how do I excite this person? You know, how do I excite? Where's his pleasure spot? The 5th house is your house of pleasures and enjoyment. So you look at his 5th house and you say, oh, it's Aquarius in there. You know, so that means he likes excitement. Excitement is pleasurable for him. You know, so I want to push his pleasure button. So I want to find things that deal with that Aquarius energy, which is exciting energy. You know, so you know my actions, which is Aquarius, you know, will be something that will excite him. If my actions are Aquarian, that's going to push his pleasure house here, you know, and get him to take notice of me. And then if I really want to fine tune that, I'll look at his 7th house, you know,
Which
and
is
that
marriage and partnership.
Yeah, which is marriage and partnership. So we got Aquarius here. That means we got Pisces here, which means we got Aries here. So that means, okay, what will excite him? I'll look at his 7th house and get a clue, you know, of what he likes to see in his partner. And if it's Aries energy, then, okay, sex. He likes sex, you know. That's exciting for, you know. He's looking for a sexual partner. That's, you know, that's what's going to be exciting for him, you know. And I mean, this is a characteristic of what's going to be exciting for him. So I may have to use sex, you know, to get this guy. Now, don't take that, you know, to heart. I'm just trying to give you an example of how you can look at one thing, cultivate, you know, and then get some clues as to some hints on what is exciting for him, what is pleasurable for him. Look at his 7th house, and whatever falls under Aries will give you a clue of how you can push that 11th house excitement button by the activities, your actions. See, that's how you bring all that together. That's how you start working it, you know. That's how you start, you know, getting some ideas on what moves to make and stuff, on how to use that energy. Confused?
Interesting. No.
So it's good to have a chart on your mate. It's essentially what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. See, we've been making too many mistakes by just looking at the sun sign.
That's right.
I know.
You know, looking at the sun sign, you know. And then you don't have to stop there. You can find out what his Venus is in. You know? Find out what his moon is in. Mm-hmm. You know? How can I emotionally get next to him? What traits does his moon fall in so that I can excite his emotions? See? And then you start looking at that, you know, that sign. And what can I do to, you know, bring about some of that energy? See? And he's going to respond to that. Yeah. He's going to respond. You know? Because you're looking at him. You're looking at personally what it is that makes him tick. You know? So, yeah, it's a good idea to know that. You know, and men, vice versa. I'm not just talking to the women here. Now, how to snag a man. We know that's y'all's biggest fears, you know. But, you know, so any other questions?
So what if there's nothing in your first house?
Oh, shoot, a lot of my houses are empty. NATO, but
that must mean you have a group of them in one area.
Big time, yeah.
That must mean you have a group of them in one area.
Like in my 7th.
Yeah, that means you're a specialist, okay? That means you specialize in a certain area, okay? That's what that indicates. Yeah, that means that you really are a specialized person.
Is full.
Right.
My 9th house.
Right. So, you have your homework assignment. Like I said, if anybody want to sign up for those workbooks, you need to sign up today because I'll be bringing them for our next
And
meeting.
they're $12, you say?
$12, and I'll be bringing them. And don't let, if that's a problem, don't worry about that. But I'll be bringing them for the next meeting. And like I said, 2 weeks from today. You know, so that'll give you plenty of time to go over that material. You know, actually some of you got 3 homework assignments because you want to put your planets, you want to do the transits, and you want to look at today's lesson and look at some of those interactions. Yeah, you know. And so by the time you come here on the 2nd, you know, see if you can be able to give me, you know, some type of interaction. Something, you know, try to put together something for me, okay? You know. Yeah, tell me, give me something, you know, as far as this energy is in this sign, in this house, and it's affecting me this way, okay? And that's it. Thank you for coming back. See you in 2 weeks, you know.
Do you have any copies of last week's lesson?
I gave you last week's lessons. I had that, you know, with me then. I gave that to you. I don't have any for this week because I just kind of did it and then outline.
I need last week. Do you have it? And also, I want to sign up for that. I'm not sure if I
Okay, does anybody, where's the sign-in thing?
Oh, right here.
Okay, it's the second page. Look behind there. Okay, let's see. That's 4. That's 4. Yeah, 5.
That's why it's read it every time.
You don't have the time, Bird?
Does it make a difference if it's like within 10 minutes?
No, that's no problem.
What if it's
An hour.
I think it was 6:56, but I think it's 6:50 something, but I don't remember.
Okay, well we'll go with that. The 6,
She
an
said
hour's
6
good.
She said 6 o'clock, but
An hour's
I
good.
had my time a long time ago, but I can't find it, and I slipped off for it, so I don't want to be totally off.
Okay, well what I'm gonna do is give you, based on that time, the 6, I'm gonna give you a rising sign based on this, would you say 6 what? 6?
I'll just have to do it.
Oh, I got cards too. I'm gonna start, well, I'll just put those in the workbook, okay? But I'm gonna give you one of my cards and I'll tell you what you do. When you get that information, I want you to call me.
I have it in like 2 days.
Yeah, you just call me and then I'll just go ahead and I'll tell you what your rising sign is. Okay. I'm gonna include some in the workbooks, and you know, so. Okay.
And there was one other thing I need to get the video.
What's that?
Need to get the video for last week.
Oh yeah, you can do that too. Yeah, and please y'all do that. You know, review if you missed any.
Right here.
You know, rent the videos. You know, because we really do. I mean, I need to show my appreciation. You know, for Sirius having me here. And any books, like I said, and I see they got some of the books in that was on my book list.
Oh yeah, week 5. Here.
And then some of the books that I've added, like I said, just let them know, and they'll get those for you. And rent the videos, and you know, you get everything that you need. Yeah, with all that they bring all of it. It's going to be at the Radisson, one downtown. The first one's going to be at Georgia State, the first day, this coming Thursday.
How was it?
And then the rest of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are going to be at the Radisson. Yeah, I think they might have some, they should have some flyers. Yeah, newsletter. Look over there on there and look for the newsletters. And they got the whole schedule and everything, right?
You know what I called quite a few people. I called quite a few people to see the drum. Nobody was really available, I would say. And
because someone was drumming at the Soul Vegetarian with Brother Valerie.
yeah, but as a matter of fact,
they really made it look really added.
Well, anyway, I couldn't find enough people. Well, a lot of people, right? That's 3 days. That's 3 days for a lot of people, and that's okay. For some people, like I'm available on this Friday. Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, that's
I may
it.
No,
be.
that's fine.
Yeah,
I know
I might
Kevin said
be-
he wanted me to
It's
drum.
on the back. I think it's on the back.
Because I usually do a little bit for the for the vibration, like Bobby and
Greetings.
Yeah.
I just drum.
Yeah, see, I was trying to get I was trying to get at least 10 drums.
That's what I'm saying. Not
That's
just
full
because I'm
size.
like, I know I'm not gonna be the only one. I mean, what other drummers do you do?
No,
No,
you got a brother with the
We're gonna skip
bar
that
there.
Sunday and then
You
that's
got a
gonna be
brother
the
with
last
he
one.
used to drum over here. He used to come, he's a barber. He got a real clean shaved head. I need to find him. I can
Yes,
find
they're
him.
all on
He might
tape.
be.
They're all okay. The whole 7-week series is on tape, so that's what I'm just saying. Yeah, yeah, just come, yeah.
What does that mean?
And get the
I don't
tapes
think they'll be,
and catch up on it
I don't
and come to the last
with my
one.
schedule how it is right
It's been
now.
good. Tell us.
It's been good.
Yeah.
He said
So is
possibly
that Friday
Thursday, and he's going out of town Friday. I doubt if he'll show up
I need to
at
come
all.
up there and see you too.
All
right, thank you.
New York, so
How much are
I'm okay, my brother.
so I don't know if he's going to actually show up at all. I doubt he show up at all.
you going?
What about
You
Ramses?
got another man.
I'm looking at the schedule.
Yeah, you better.
You're not renting those ones?
Can't you find Ramses? I'm sure he's available.
I could try maybe.
We're trying to find drummers.
So you can't, you know.
Oh no, I'm doing it. All,
But you need
So when's
more.
rehearsal?
all 4 days. I'll be there.
So when's rehearsal?
See, I'm off. I'm not off till
Oh, you're
Friday
talking about
morning.
like to do a show?
No, it's just
Not for this show, this is to provide drumming for
And you can,
Like
I mean,
opening up.
there's libation. Libation is 9:30.
Just now taking a drum
That's all
class.
right.
Sometime before 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm calling a few of the brothers I met during Kwanzaa. Good drummers.
I'm probably sure there's gonna be some at the conference.
When's rehearsal?
I don't know, but Friday.
Most
Friday, I get off Friday.
no, most people already know some rhythms.
Yeah, I got
Because
some
for
rhythm.
Kwanzaa, we just got together
It's
and
not
we
that
played
most,
like
it's not that
Rocky
most
Ball.
people don't know the rhythms. Rhythms you don't play.
Whatever she
I
she
guess
start
you
off
have
when
a
I
lead
can
You
drum.
know, like a
Everybody just
lamba would
follow
be good
the
for
lead.
healing,
That's what
calling
they
in the
do over
spirits.
there.
That's what I was
And it
gonna
comes
do.
out to be,
Yeah,
The
I can't.
audience
Woo.
gonna know.
Yeah, no, I can't stand that. Not for an organized thing like this. I know what he's saying. But yeah, if some person just, says, okay, we're gonna do lamba, we're gonna do kakilambe, that's what we'll do.
what's that?
I was getting ready to say.
Huh? No, those are traditional rhythms. Like lambas for calling in the healing spirit. There's a chant. I was gonna do that.
Well, see, now I don't know that. As far
That's
as
why I'm asking.
I
when's
can follow
rehearsal?
rhythm. I can follow
Yeah,
rhythm.
in other words,
like I
that's-
usually just say, okay, here's a part in case you don't know it. And you just hold that part. These two people hold their parts,